Welcome to the Logistics Point interviews. I'm joined by Charlie Shiels, who is the CEO of ArrowXL, and we are talking about the low consumer confidence at the moment and all the crises that are around in logistics and how this is affecting the industry. Charlie, thank you very much for joining me.
It's funny you say low customer confidence. I think it's uncertain confidence more than low, because I just saw some results this morning from January sales figures, and they were better than expected. I don't mean our figures, I mean industry figures from the retail world. They were better than expected, and home furnishings did really well. So as a company that delivers home furnishings, it was sort of it was good to read. Black Friday and Christmas 2021 wasn't as big as most people thought it would be, and there was an expectation that we enter 2022 with certainly a dent in consumer confidence with the ongoing COVID crisis and uncertain economic headwinds and inflation, etc. But so far this year, our volumes are pretty good.
Okay, so if you're looking at the industry as a whole, do you think that things are improving or staying in the same line?
Because we've had such a strange 2 years, haven't we, with sort of Brexit, pandemic, global supply chain issues, evergreen, and then in 2021 we faced the economic headwinds that I've never experienced the like of in my life. I've a career logistics person from the age of 16, so 43 years in logistics, and I've never experienced anything like last year's economic headwinds in terms of labour demand, availability of product, availability of garage facilities, availability of mechanics. So it's been a really sort of strange 2 years. But most home delivery companies, I think I would say all home delivery companies, enjoyed a COVID dividend. The benefits of COVID, the benefits of everyone being locked in at home were absolutely, it depends who you talk to, but 4 or 5 years growth within 1 month. But then I always knew we'd have a COVID correction. When society opened up again and when people went back to work again and when the economy reopened, there would be a COVID correction. And so it's been. Volumes have come back down from the COVID highs, if you like. But the exit point is definitely far stronger than the entry point. So we're still enjoying, we've enjoyed really good growth. The reason for that is well established, that people were forced into home shopping that have never been home shopping before, and people who were home shopping before grew more confident with the type of products they bought from a home shopping point of view. And certainly from an ArrowXL point of view, we've seen that. We've seen more volumes. So the volumes have dropped off from the COVID highs, but they're definitely in a strong place versus the COVID entry point, which is almost 2 years ago, which is frightening, really. So consumer confidence stroke uncertainty, definitely a lot of it about talking to our clients. We're a good bellwether of what's happening out there as a home delivery company. We have 95 trading clients, and certainly the problems they faced last year seemed to me were as much about stock availability as consumer confidence. The global supply chain issues, shipping, caused them lots of issues, and they're certainly easing off a little bit, I feel.
And one of the other big topics for last year, and I think probably for this year, was the lack of labor. Is this still something that is in a way haunting the industry?
Yes, I think so. I think it's November, December 2021 were the eye of the storm. There's no doubt about that. Was the most difficult part, and availability of staff at our most demanding period was a problem. There's no doubt about that. And because most of our delivery drives are 7.5 ton, and that's a particular niche area where 20 years ago, if you passed a car driving test, you could drive a 7.5 tonner. You can no longer do that. You need a Class C license to drive a 7.5 ton vehicle. So that's quite a niche driver license area, and there was a particular shortages in these areas, as there were with the LGV C+E Class 1 license. But as I sit here in February, moving towards March, it's definitely eased off a little bit, because demand's eased off a little bit. The demand in February is nothing like the demand in November, is it? But definitely we haven't got any issues getting hold of the staff we need at the moment. And it wasn't just drivers, Nick, it was warehouse staff as well. Yep. From my point of view, the availability of warehouse staff and lift truck drivers and forklift truck drivers was as pronounced and difficult as it was from a driver point of view. And there were some geographic anomalies. London's always challenging, the southeast is always challenging, but Scotland was challenging last year. The availability of drivers in the Scottish Central Belt, where Glasgow, Edinburgh are, that was particularly difficult last year. Inverness, we've got a facility in Inverness. Who would have thought we struggled to find people in Inverness to come and work for us? And but we have to pay more money, obviously. So in answer to your question, I do think it's easing off a little bit. I don't think the problem's fixed because demand has eased off a little bit. We've got a spring peak, isn't it? Will be approaching us soon, and the spring peak comes. Easter arrives, the sun comes out, people start thinking about their gardens, and they start buying product for their gardens, and they start thinking about decorating their homes. That's very much a two-person peak more than a sort of parcel peak. So we're not overly worried about that peak, and we're confident we'll get the staff we need to meet the growth in demand as we move through May and June this year, which will be busy months.
Supply chain crises are everywhere, but knowledge can help you. Join the Logistics Point, a digital news platform for logistics and supply chain. Subscribe now on YouTube to access free online events, interviews with leading supply chain experts, and more. The Logistics Point. And the other thing was warehousing. There is a lot of talk about the fact that there isn't enough space. Have you felt this yourself?
Well, we've got about 2.5 million square foot of warehousing, and it's full. It's absolutely full. There's no question about it. And I could probably fill another 2.5 million square foot if I had it with people who are knocking on the door with product they want us to store. Nick, it's amazing. Clearly, it seems to me the move from just in time, which is where we've been for the last 40 years in logistics, and it's people are giving just in time a bit of a kicking at the moment. It's worked well for 40 years as a system until an unprecedented global pandemic come along and caused some problems. Just in time as a system is very effective, but it's about not holding stock, isn't it? Now that's caught a lot of people out over the last 2 years. So it seems to me now that lots of warehouses are full, and lots of the retailers are making sure they've got the product in stock, ready to sell the product. For example, garden furniture. Once the sun comes out, the great British consumer thoughts turn to their gardens, and they'll be wanting garden furniture. Last year, availability was a problem. This year, I think the warehouses are full of stock, so availability for consumers will be less of a problem.
The last bit will be then Brexit. Do you think that this has had a huge impact it's been nearly 2 years now?
I don't know. It's had an impact. There's no doubt about it. It's had a big impact, from a point of view of, I suppose the labour availability. And it's clear that, a number of EU citizens have gone home. But I remember before Brexit, they were going home anyway. Some of the Eastern European economies were getting stronger, and people wanted to go home. And I understand that. That's perfectly normal to want to live in the country where you're most comfortable. So definitely, it's sort of accelerated that sort of some of the European colleagues that we've had working for us have gone home. And obviously we don't export to mainland Europe. We deliver product in Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, so we've definitely felt the impact of the changes in rules for the south of Ireland, and volumes dramatically far less than it was before Brexit. But Northern Ireland's stronger.
Okay.
The reality is Northern Ireland, but we were really worried about it. So Northern Ireland trade is stronger than our Southern Ireland trade. So it was worrying with the rules and regulations, but they keep pushing those back, as they have done again. So trade with Northern Ireland is fairly straightforward. Trade with Southern Ireland is a lot lower. It seems to me some retailers have carried on and they're doing well in Southern Ireland. Some of the smaller retailers don't want the hassle, for the want of a better word. They don't want the extra administrative burden, the extra paperwork, the extra labour needed to sell some product to Southern Ireland, where in the past it was just like selling it in the UK. Now there are additional steps to go through that, some of our bigger clients are doing it and still doing well. Some of our smaller clients have said it's just not worth it. So, labour availability has definitely hardened because of Brexit, and trading to the south of Ireland, from our point of view, is definitely reduced because of Brexit. There's no question about that.
Is it fair to say that overall you sound very optimistic about where things are going at the moment?
Nick, I'm always optimistic. It's my job to be optimistic. But no, I am. I think, I think what we've done over the last 2 years as an industry, and what we've faced over the last 2 years as an industry, is unprecedented. And we've done an amazing job, quite frankly, stunning job. It's the old adage of adapt, improvise, overcome is what we've done as an industry. The leadership displayed by the logistics industry, the resilience displayed by the logistics industry, the capability, the skills, delivering when 80% of the world was locked down has been brilliant, and I've been proud to be a part of it. And we've got through that. We've not only survived, we've thrived. Quite frankly, that I faced 2022 looking forward to the sort of the end of the pandemic. I hope. He said, fingers crossed, toes crossed. We're certainly in a far better place than we were. So I'm really confident, really positive. It's no secret that the great British consumers saved more money than they ever have saved. Because they have nothing to spend it on. They're not commuting to work. The sort of bank balances of lots of British consumers are bigger than they ever have been. So the hope is as we head into the sort of better weather, they spend that money. Go on great holidays, refurbish their houses, buy nice things for themselves. So I do. I face 2022 with lots of confidence, lots of positivity.
Well, thank you very much for your time. And for people watching, they can learn more about the topic in the description down below. Thank you very much.
All right, Nick, thank you.